Good morning and welcome to A Moment of Hope with Upward Transitions. I'm Carla Stinnett, and today we are happy to have as a guest Jarod Shadid. He is with the City of Oklahoma City, and he is in homeless services, and he is the program planner for homeless services for the city. Welcome, Jarod. We're happy to have you today. All right. So just to dive right on, how long has has the city had this position or this Department of Homeless Services? Is it relatively new?
No, I've been here in this position since about 2013, and before that, I was working as an intern, actually working with the previous staff that was doing this. I believe she did it for about 5 or 6 years, maybe before, but maybe even longer. So it's been here for quite a while, around since I developed the continuum of care. And I don't remember exactly what year. That was well before my arrival here. So we have had it for quite some time.
Yes, and so as the city coordinates with other nonprofit agencies and state agencies too in the city, what are some of the issues that Oklahoma City is facing as far as the challenge of homelessness?
Well, one thing we point out that there's a couple of things that a lot of people don't know, because Oklahoma City has always been considered to be really affordable housing wise, but every city in the country, and Oklahoma City is not unusual in this area, it does face an affordable housing problem. Even people in Oklahoma City who make minimum wage can't afford a 2-bedroom unit at fair market rent without working 2 of those jobs. And that for a 1-bedroom unit, it takes almost 2 jobs. Additionally, the Princeton Eviction Lab several years ago found we had about the 20th highest eviction rate in the country. While that study was done several years ago, there's no reason to indicate that has not that has not increased. It likely has not gone down. Additionally, discharges to homelessness from certain services such as Department of Corrections and hospitals and things like that. That's something that every city faces as well. We've also seen an increase in numbers of street homelessness in the past in 2020. We were not able to do a count in 2021, but it looks like those numbers probably stayed at least about the same. And there's issues related to that as well, that both for our service providers and the population, trying to keep them safe in the wintertime during this past winter the weather was terrible, and trying to get them out of the cold and help them survive. And also there's problems that property owners face that are kind of related to people camping outdoors. So those are just some of the issues that we face surrounding homelessness.
Yes, I know we just recently had a new night shelter open too. So I know that the community is coming together to try to address some of these additional challenges of the homelessness being on the rise. What are you seeing as some of the economic or social effects of homelessness in Oklahoma City?
Well, I mean, it's the same in Oklahoma City as really it is across the board in every city. Homelessness can reduce life expectancy by about 20 years. There's overrepresentation of mental illness in the homeless population, some mental illnesses in the homeless population, and severe mental illness can not only lead to homelessness, but can also be triggered by it as well, though. Also, people with homelessness, people who are chronically homeless tend to have more health concerns, and those can be exacerbated by not seeking regular health care, as well as abuse, adverse childhood experiences, foster care, family breakdowns, and things like that are not only can lead to homelessness, but can be exacerbated by it as well. There's also a strong relationship between homelessness and the criminal justice systems for a variety of reasons. All of those things have services to address them that do cost. So those are all sort of these social impacts, and all those have economic costs that go along with them with regards to services that are taken to address them.
And how prevalent is the cycle of poverty as a contributor to homelessness?
Well, I mean, that is a really broad, hard question to peg. So one thing I want to do before I dive into some of their specific statistics, point people to United Way of Central Oklahoma in 2020. Their vital signs report did focus on poverty in Oklahoma City. And that can kind of give you a deeper dive into kind of how the cycle of poverty does affect homelessness. Just some statistics they point out. On average, about 38% of residents of Oklahoma City are considered low income. And factors related to poverty have a negative impact on child development, and those effects are lasting. Children basically who are raised in the lowest quartile, what they call the quartile of income, they make about $23,000 less than their peers who are raised in the highest. And while the nationwide trend in child poverty appears to show a decline, Oklahoma City in the past year showed an uptick. So that would indicate that that continues, that is going to place, that the cycle of poverty does play a significant factor, because about half of the population, 1/3 to 1/2 of people who are born in poverty actually repeat that cycle going forward, and they remain in poverty. So I would say, I mean, that if people want to get more information on that, though, I would point them to the United Way report, and I can give them a bit more info. But their statistics would indicate that it does play a factor.
Right. What we have seen is that the research shows that it is systemic in families, and that it does create that repeat cycle over and over to the next generation. And that is that's our mission, ending generational poverty. And we do serve Central Oklahoma and Oklahoma County. But, what we're seeing as an agency too is with this expiration of the federal moratorium on eviction that's coming June 30th, we anticipate that there's going to be an uptick in evictions and homelessness. Is that what the city is seeing as well?
We're anticipating that, yeah. And, and while there has been this moratorium, that doesn't mean evictions have not been happening. We've been able to reduce them in Oklahoma City because we've had, like a lot of cities, we've gotten a lot of resources that have come in through Community Cares Partnership, through a lot of other programs, and also through our other programs like a program called the Emergency Solutions Grant, which Upper Transitions participates on. And those, right now, most of that Emergency Solutions Grant money can't be used until that moratorium expires. But for people who are needing it now, they can contact the Community Cares Partnership, and that's at okcommunitycares.org, or call 211 and they can connect you. And so if you're already facing back rent, don't wait till the moratorium expires. Address it now and call them and see if you can already get in line. But we do anticipate once it expires, even though we're still seeing some evictions, they've been lower than what we obviously would have anticipated without having those services. We do anticipate those will go up. The way to prevent that, though, is getting the word out about what's available. Because the only reason they should really go up in a lot of cases is because people don't know what services to connect with. Because we do have a lot of resources right now that can help address those evictions. So I would encourage everybody. I mean, we put it out through our social media on Home OKC. The city's put it out. Other programs like other organizations like Homeless Alliance and others that put it out on theirs to tell people what's available. Just spread the word as much as you can. If you know people who are struggling, tell them how to connect. And the first place is, I'd say Community Cares or 211, and they will point them in the right direction.
Right, and as an agency ourselves, we are positioning ourselves with coordinating those resources together, because as we work together, we create this fabric, a safety net for the clients. And that involves multiple agencies, and we all have our forte, as far as what we're the best at. And one of the things Upper Transitions does is help with, IDs, getting identification for these clients. And, we've established a process that helps overcome those first step barriers for clients and homelessness, as far as not having identification to get a job or to receive other resources from other agencies. So we help with that first step, and a lot of agencies do refer clients to us. But in looking at the infrastructure to address homelessness, what are some of the things the city or programs have they implemented?
Well, they passed maps for a couple of years ago, and what that will do, I think most people know who paid attention to the news, the primary focus on that has been on social programs. And one of those is affordable housing. Organizations like Housing Authority and the Homeless Alliance and Pivot and several others were a part of helping develop that this strategy to develop more affordable housing in Oklahoma City. And truly affordable housing that's at about 50% of area median income and below. In addition to that, though, that program should provide facilities for mental health services, and it will help support the Palomar Family Justice Center that helps address victims of domestic violence and issues related to that. In addition to that, though, we are developing a strategy to prevent homelessness or address homelessness, and some of those things in there will be new programs that will help address that. One of those being the Better Way program. They have that in Tulsa. It does employ people to help with neighborhood or city beautification projects and cleanup and things like that, but also connects them with services and a case manager to help them address the factors that are leading to their homelessness. Also, there are other employment programs in there as well, like helping expand the curbside programs and several others. So there's going to be a lot of other programs associated with that once that gets passed by City Council, and we will be hiring on staff to implement that. There's going to be about, well, I don't know how many I would call programs, but there's about 24 strategies in there, and some of those have specific programs associated with them.
Yeah, that's great, and that's good news. And we are all, as an agency, looking forward to working and coordinating these programs together with the city. So, in thinking about this collaboration of social services, in your view, what are some of the positive ways a collaboration of social services works to serve the greater good of an entire city or an entire community?
Well, I mean, say to really affect the greater good of the community, any service collaboration that focuses on a specific population, if they work together and collaborate and coordinate, they can address the needs of that population pretty well. Coordination is really important. So, that the right hand knows what the left hand's doing. You're not basically treating somebody, addressing the same thing over and over again with the client, and that they come from one organization and to your organization, kind of what they've already received there and what the issues are. But to really benefit an entire community, I think you got to plug in outside of just that particular social service network with organizations like, I mentioned discharge planning as an issue before, with organizations like hospitals, the corrections, housing developers to basically encourage more affordable housing. And those have to be ongoing collaborations, not just one-time meetings. So if you're going to sustain that effort, you have to work with them on a regular basis. So I think that's the benefit of those collaborations. And I think it goes well beyond, the social service sector.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, we see that as good news on the horizon as far as help for these people that are finding themselves as being some of our most vulnerable people or citizens in our county, in our city. So any closing remarks, Jarod? We're just about out of time, and just thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we sign off today?
Well, with the end of that eviction moratorium coming up, I just want to encourage people again to spread the word. And if you're needing assistance, then go to those resources I mentioned, okcommunitycares.org, or just call 211 and they will point you in the right direction. That's really important so we can try to avoid seeing those numbers go up. We've had a lot of luck preventing serious problems during the COVID pandemic among our population, and we'd like to continue to do that going forward. So that's I think my closing remarks.
And I think that is a great reminder, and a closing, something for us to close on is that call 211 if you're struggling or need help. So once again, thank you so much, Jarod, for being with us today. And we look forward to working together on some of these projects and programs. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We'll see everyone next week. Bye-bye now.